Hello, YPP listeners. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Carpy's Custom Screen Printing. They are the creators of custom t-shirts, custom hats, stickers, decals, RC car wraps, whether it's a t-shirt for your kid's softball team, golf team, tennis team, basketball team, baseball team, soccer team, bowling team, wrestling team, whatever. If you have the design, you can give it to them. They'll make it how you want it. If you need them to design something, they'll do it for you. Be sure to hit them up on @Carpies_co on Twitter, @Carpies on Instagram. Check out their stuff. They do really good stuff. They recently just helped us out with our line of YPP branded clothing. That'll be available here soon. I'll be sure to let everybody know when that stuff's going to be available on our website, youngandpruitt.com. While you're over at youngandpruitt.com, be sure to check out the forum. Be sure to sign up, get your membership, and join the discussion. Layla's blog is on there, and every single previous episode of this podcast is on there. We are on iTunes, we are on Stitcher, we are on YouTube. So 4 chances to take and listen to this podcast. This episode of the podcast, we have Matt Ross. He is a car chief in the ARCA series. He's a very, very, very good friend of mine, one of my best friends. We talk about how he comes from Chicago, the middle of Chicago, one of the most populated counties in the country. So we talk about how he kind of got into racing, and then we just talk about all kinds of silly stuff. So hope you guys enjoy. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks for coming on, Matt.
No problem.
Matt Ross is joining us today. Very good friend of mine since 2000, since I moved down here.
I hated you when you moved down here.
I know you did.
It was about 2 years.
You were at Pitt. You were working at Pitt when I started.
It's no different than how you questioned me at first.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that feeling out period.
There's normally a 6-month breaking into.
Yeah, I mean, you're friends with the people that you hate at the beginning.
It's true.
Think about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you moved down here from Chicago,
right?
Cook County, it's like one of the most. Well, actually, we just looked it up. It's like the second most populated county in the country.
Mm-hmm. Compared to what, like Los Angeles County?
LA County is like 10. Cook County is like half that, but LA County I think is twice the size. So I think it's just
wow.
Yeah. So there's like 5 million people inside Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So what got you interested in racing?
Well, I guess it all started in like the late 90s. My mom was always big into racing, and she'd go to Rockford to watch the short track races with her father, and she used to tell me stories how they raced at Soldier Field.
Oh yeah.
Like in the old one. And I started following it more when she started watching racing more in the late 90s. She's always an Earnhardt fan, and then Junior started racing, so I'm like, I'm going to be a Dale Jr. fan, I was like 14 at the time, and I always followed it since then, but I guess what made me move down here is I went to automotive school up there, and I was going through, and I graduated, and I really didn't feel like working on people's cars for the rest of my life. I want to do something cooler, So I've always liked racing, so why not try to come down here and learn that and be on a pit crew and do the full scope of it.
Yeah, I had a vocational automotive in high school. Had this guy come in, and he had back when we had the TV on the little roller cart. He brought that in and had the TV on. And he put in the VHS of pro mod cars, like the really funky looking drag cars.
Yeah,
super badass. And he had that playing as the class was starting. So as we're coming in, we're watching all these pro mod big events. We're like, oh yeah, we're captivated. And the guy this was the one thing that sent me down here, or sent me into motorsports, was he started playing it, and he turned down the volume. He kind of looked at everybody. He's like, you guys think this is cool, right? And we're like, oh yeah. He's like, that's awesome, ain't it? And he's like, and he shuts the power off, and he goes, well, wake up. He goes, this isn't where the money is. He's like, this is all fun. He's like, the real money is working on cars. And I got so, like, almost offended by that it was just, I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then that's when I chased after my racing deal.
Well, you got to realize somebody is doing these jobs.
Yes.
Like, somebody's actually working and making money doing that. So nothing's above you. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. What was your first gig? Was it at Pitt?
Well, it kind of was. It was on Jay Fogelman's and Jody Lavender's Pro Cup car.
Got it, yeah.
Back in 07.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually a fill-in guy for somebody they sent to do one of their deals. You know, they always, they handpick and choose, and, you got to go through us. And then it doesn't matter if they already had prior commitments. They have to do it.
Yes.
So they needed somebody to fill the spot. So I was a fill-in guy for the Myrtle Beach race for Jay Fogelman. And I got kept on after. So I did all that through 2007 up until the end of the year, and I started doing ARCA with Patrick Sheltra for the rest of the year after that.
Oh, Patrick. I haven't seen or heard from him in a while. So, and then you were at Pitt, and then you started working for Bobby, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to a tryout in the off-season.
So you got that gig going over the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the only... I mean, I've never worked in a shop before, never worked on a race car before, didn't know how to take a drive shaft out.
Oh,
wow. I had no knowledge of race cars back then. Mm-hmm. And I went out there with a friend of ours, Richard Clavalou.
Yeah.
I went out there with him off of a guy that worked there. He told us that there was going to be tryouts. So he was trying to get a job over there too, Karen Tires. So we went out as a team and did some really decent stops and ended up getting the job. Mm-hmm. Sadly, they didn't need a carrier, so I got hired. So my first time ever working on a race team in a shop was meeting at Bobby's at 5 o'clock in the morning, driving down to Daytona for the race.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that's how that all started.
Baptism by fire.
And then they ended up giving you a job in the shop?
Yeah, no, well, the whole position was working in the shop.
Oh, wow. So
that was
you
my
haven't
first
even been
day. No, I stepped foot in the shop to do my interview, and honestly, I didn't even know I was hired just by the way he goes about doing things. He's like, okay, that looks good. I'm like, so what? So I'm hired? Yep. When can you start? I'm like, oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm going to need my 2 weeks. Like, okay, just meet us here.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what was your position in the shop?
Oh, I don't know.
Everything?
Yeah, I mean, general mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're kind of all hands on deck there for a while anyway.
I mean, back then, his program, he's been racing forever.
Oh, yeah.
And he's always had his truck team.
I
think he's the longest standing truck owner. Still, well, no, he stopped doing truck races. I think he's doing Xfinity now.
Yeah.
Full time. But he was, at the time, the longest standing truck owner for consecutive years up until, I believe, he stopped. So...
Was he original in 95?
No, I think it started in 99, 2000. But
it's still almost 20 years.
Yeah, but yeah, you try to think of what truck teams have been around, since the beginning, and there really isn't any.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm. I mean, Thor Sport's been around a long time, but I don't think that far. So he has, he hires a bunch of people at the beginning of the year, and a lot of them don't know anything, because he's got to fill so many spots, and he'd like to have his pick crew in-house. So if he can find somebody that could change tires, pay them a little less because they don't know anything about the mechanical side, he could fill those slots and just get people at his shop, to work on stuff and just try to learn as they go.
Mm-hmm. So that was actually probably really good for you because then you had your hands in everything.
Oh, it was great for me, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you go fabrication, putting engines in, just random stuff. You get to learn a lot every day.
It's pretty wild because you normally think people, can only get in here through either like PR marketing, being an athlete or
being an engineer,
and then occasionally people will work on like local stuff and then make the jump up. But yeah, you just broke that mold, right? Like, now as long as you can come in here and be confident over the wall and find the right deal, you can just learn to work on the cars after you get here.
Right, and that's what kind of drove my decision once I came down here, because originally I went to school in Chicago as UTI, which is the parent company of NTI. Mm-hmm. And I came down here with the intention of continuing that program only with the NASCAR,
Got it.
whatever sessions, involved.
So you could go to NTI in Chicago
Right.
and then come down here and just do the NASCAR part.
Yeah, you can almost continue your education
Got
and
it.
just do that section, because we had Hot Rod U up there. We built an engine and put it in a T-bucket and put it in the chassis dyno and all that. But I came down here and I took the tour, and I noticed a pit school next door. And I figured that would be a better avenue to take, just because it's cut and dry. How many thousands of kids have that school on their resume? Everybody's a graduate, Nobody's going to look at it. But if you can actually prove yourself and be able to do something, that speaks a lot more than a piece of paper.
Yeah, that was kind of my way in too, because I went to Wyotech, and no one gave two shits about my Wyotech, not even a diploma, kind of like a certificate or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no one cared. It was the people that actually had like the hands-on experience that got hired. So I knew from then on, and I figured that out just by looking for jobs. They
have a full stack of papers
yeah.
with people with no experience.
So then
that
it
they
was
all
like,
use for.
so it was like kind of like testing the wall. It's like, okay, well, this way doesn't work. Okay, well, let's try this way. And then it was the pit school that, oh, well, hey, let's try that. Let's try that
Work
out.
on cars and you can jump over the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like in Matt's case, being able to be on the pit crew, you're more valuable, because then they're paying one guy to do two jobs.
Right.
So it just works out good for those guys. You started working for Bobby, and then you're one of our only guests that was actually a tire guy. So can you kind of explain to everybody like the gist of being a tire guy? I know it's a lot more than just
Right. If
than
you're
going and getting the tires.
Yeah.
ever have time at the racetrack, you're not doing something that you should be doing. If you're standing around, you should be doing something right now, because you're going to have to do it later. Whether it be setting air pressures, moving tires to pit road. There's always something to do, at least in the truck series.
Yeah. You go get your tires from Goodyear, and then who decides what tires are yours? Is it just straight off of Goodyear? Is it just...
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get to pick your tires. All those stacks that you see set up at the fence in the garage area, those are all just stacked up by Goodyear. And you just grab your stacks and you go through them.
So what's the first thing that you look for on them? Because I know there's like a sticker, because they're actually called stickers. I know there's a bunch of numbers and codes and like a barcode, and
Right.
a lot of it has to do with, you can even like find out like who made it, what shift.
Right, that's all in the barcode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the first thing you look at is the date code. You look at the mold numbers. You check the spring rates. I don't even think... I really don't know if that's much of a factor anymore. I haven't done tires in about 4 years, but spring rates used to be a big thing. They used to vary, 100 pounds per tire. So it's up to you to get all that stuff down and either put it in your own program if you have one, or give it to the engineer or whoever puts your tires in sets.
So when you're trying to put those in sets, you're trying to equal them out across the board to where all the spring rates
Right.
equal?
Yeah, depending on what the crew chief wants, you either put the high spring rates on the wedge side, high spring rates to the front, depending if you're, short track or super speedway. It's all different. But you always want that 50% wedge number on your program. So you always know that every set of tires is going to be the same. And depending on what they want, whether it be high spring rates first throughout the race or low spring rates first, going to high throughout the race. It all varies, and obviously you want to burn up your worst set during practice.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask. It's always the worst set that that gets burned up.
Yeah, one of the best sets for qualifying, and obviously the set you put on for the race, or the two sets.
In the
truck series.
Yeah. Going through all that, the date that it was manufactured, the mold. So is that like the amount of rubber, or like the
No,
big-
there's actually, they manufacture each tire in different molds. So
Oh, wow.
they all have different...
So you know what machine this guy used.
Because they have different batches of rubber. So that's, besides the date code, the mold number is the second biggest thing you look at. Because it all comes from the same whatever vat of crap. But whichever one comes off the same line, you want to keep those together.
Now,
closer.
is it just kind of like over-engineered, or is it actually really important?
No, it's important. I
And
mean, you
there's,
ever
like,
heard them say you got a
spreadsheets
bad
and
set of
everything.
tires? Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can get to a point to where you're just taking stats just for stats, you know, like if they actually really like apply.
Yeah, we're never going to use this crap. I just want to write it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the biggest determining factor on them?
The day code.
The date code, the day that it was made?
You could have a set of tires. You could have 4, God forbid, 3 tires that were made the year before.
Ooh.
Because they're just trying to get rid of their inventory. So you run the risk of either practicing on old junk tires and messing your day up, or saving them for an emergency set, which really doesn't happen that often, saying hopefully we won't have to put these on for the race. So, I mean, you never really know where to go with that bad set.
Now, that's not your decision, right?
No.
That's
you
all
can make
crew chief.
recommendations.
Crew chief, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've seen them hustle. I used to, when I had like downtime in between like practice sessions or something, I would help our tire guy at Hattori.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intense. Like, you got to measure circumferences, and then you got to get them all in sets, and you got to put all this stuff in a spreadsheet, give it to the crew chief. Crew chief will tell you, like he was saying, we're going to use these tires to practice on, hustle them down to pit road. Or, you know, if you cut one down during practice, you got to go get, it's just...
Yeah, so what's...
Especially in the truck series.
Yeah, so what's the process with that?
You grab the one closest to it and go get another one. Hopefully it's close, and if it's not close, you got to move all your sets around.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because that could be the one puzzle piece that helps out.
Right. Like, damn it, I wish I had this tire at the beginning of the day, you know?
Or if they, they equalize.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when the pressure in the inner liner matches the...
Right. It's if the inner liner unseats, or God forbid there's a hole or something in it.
Mm-hmm.
It just, you'll notice the outside pressure raising and the inside pressure lowering, and then you got to send it down. You could try to do it yourself, but that's kind of a bear. Doesn't really work that often.
What do you mean do it yourself?
You just let the outer out and just pump the hell out of the inner, and turn your regulator up and just pump it up. I mean, nothing stupid, but just pump it up and hopefully it reseat itself.
Tire guys listening to this, having flashbacks like a Vietnam.
Yeah, gonna wake up with cold sweats. Oh God, no!
You could pick it up, slam it against the ground, like just bounce it. You know, you bounce a tire.
Yeah.
You just rotate it and slam it against the ground and
it'll
try to resettle it.
And it'll pop in.
But normally you got to take it back to Goodyear and they'll pull it apart and remount it.
And then the worst case scenario is if there's a hole in it, and then then you got to get a brand new whole inner liner and that whole deal. Yikes!
It's a lot. Those truck series team have to do everything they can to survive. I mean, it's all hands on deck. Like I'd slam tires on.
Now, when teams do like swapping tires and they start moving tires around, how does that just kind of like
in between teams?
Yeah. So when like if you transfer a set and it's like, can you work those in, or is it just like that one stays in its own set by itself and then?
You can work them in. It all really depends on the context of what you're doing. Like, you used to be able to get rookie sets. So the way things were back when, I don't know how they are now because I haven't done tires in a bunch of years, but you could... I forget how it goes. It confused the hell out of me, and it really confused Randy Kaiser. Remember Randy Kaiser, the official? Yeah, it confused the hell out of me. I'm trying to explain it to him. Like, okay, so this is his rookie set. We're going to take this set, put it on this truck to make that the full allotment. We're going to turn in these from this truck, transfer these to him, and make this his rookie set that he has to turn in by the end of practice. So we're going to transfer him. Like, if you have one truck, let's say you have a one full-time deal that, you know, gets max allotment tires every weekend. The other truck might get 2 sets.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a start and park or, you know, whatever they plan on doing. But that leaves openings for transferring tires over. Because you could actually we were able to take that rookie set and transfer it over to that second truck, even though it only has a couple laps on it. You know, you could put that on your second truck and make that your third or fourth set. So I don't know if that was legal, but I think we confused him enough to like, oh, okay, that'll work.
That's playing to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get them confused. They're like, yeah, fine, just go away. So is that rookie set? That's only just for practice, right? That's not for.
Yeah, you have to turn it in.
But
at the end of practice.
Got it. But you still choose which one it is. Like you go through and you can.
Yeah, you can make your old junkers a rookie set, have that be the first set he's on track because he hasn't been there before, and just, you know, burn in like 10 laps and then put another set on. Or you could run the entire first session with them on and start out fresh later.
There's a lot when it comes to tires.
Yeah, that's one of the most, like, I guess, hands-on job for sure, because those tires ain't light. So they're like 70 pounds with the interliner in them?
Yep.
Interliner, yeah. Do you think popping the little tabs off, the little rubber stickers off the Speedway tires, you think that does anything?
100%.
Yeah?
No.
I've trimmed those before. I didn't know if it was like a cruel joke at first because I was like a rookie guy. They're like, yeah, go ahead and clip all these little things off the tire, the little...
Yeah,
casting.
like I don't know if it's like almost like a superstition or what, but usually it's like the Speedway, the qualifying set will be, they'll go through and they'll...
Oh, yeah. I've shaved the D numbers down, everything on the sidewall with razor blades, everything. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, Frankie Kerr.
And it probably does nothing, like you're saying.
This is probably his way of being like, this is what you get for coming in at 9 when we're here at 7. As I sip my nice Dunkin' cold brew in front of everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for getting coffee. Now go clip all those off the
Go ahead and shave those tires down.
I know a certain tire guy that has like his own like special little set of tiny like little clippers. They're like the snap-on version of like a nail clipper, and that's what he uses and sits there, puts his headphones on and just clip.
Yeah, I had a set of flush cuts in my tire box.
Just for that?
Just for that.
Going to Daytona, my precious.
Yeah, got the pole in 2010.
There you go.
See? Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely 100% it works. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't work.
I wasn't a tire guy, but they got the
So, yeah, you've done just about everything in some shape or form on as far as being on a crew, right?
Yeah.
You've actually got thrown in to be like a crew chief before, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, but nothing...
Well, I went out to Homestead 2 years ago, actually this past year too. I got a call from somebody asking if I could go down and take care of one of their trucks, and did that deal, and I did it again for the same guy this year. And let's see, I think it was the Charlotte race last year. I got a call from the owner of David Mayhew's K&N car asking if I could come down or go over and crew chief his car at Sonoma. And
road course.
That was actually pretty cool. Yeah, finished third behind Harvick and his teammate.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember when Harvick did that. He went out there and won that race, and then he ended up winning He won the Cup race, didn't he? Or did Tony win the Cup race?
No, he won the Cup
last
race
year.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he won the Cup race too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why because I didn't go.
Yeah,
that was
like the last one before.
Yeah, that was the last one before I went back. So, as far as like that transition all the way through, was that like a big moment or?
Oh yeah, it's huge. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You know, in your job, you know, you're gonna own your own team. Nobody's got the money for that. You know, I mean,
yeah.
You know.
So, what's your job title right now?
I'm the car chief on the 8 car.
In the K&N series or
ARCA
series?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're like the assistant coach.
Yeah, I mean the proper assembly of preparedness of all the cars, obviously setting up the cars, and also run the pull down rig.
Pull down rig, that's where you're going to be running through all your setups.
Right. I mean you do all the setup on the setup plate, obviously, and then that's where you set your springs, get all your travel, do your bump steer.
There's a lot to it. Are you guys pumped to be back at Charlotte this year?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be real neat.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go watch that one.
Yeah.
Remember I was talking to Weber about that.
It's been a long time since they've been at Charlotte.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be scary. The closing rate of some of those cars versus the back markers are
coming off
substantial. I mean, it's going through, I can't imagine going through the dog leg, having a car going 50 miles an hour slower than you.
I just can't believe that there's that much difference, but there is.
It's astounding.
I remember watching the ARCA race at Pocono, and it was just like 3 laps in, we got back to the backstretch, and
like 2, 1, like not even
just a big plume of smoke and noise, and I'm like, oh well, there goes half of them.
Yeah, and they were lapping cars there 2 or 3 laps, like something silly.
Yeah,
like some of those slower cars are just obviously just starting parking. I don't know how they keep it going.
They don't start and park.
Those cars?
Yeah, no, they don't.
No, they'll run the
No,
race.
they're there for the full deal.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because wasn't one of them like really high in points like last year or something like that? They finished like they got to go to the stage.
That's one of the biggest downfalls, I have to say, is the amount of full-time drivers in the series.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice if they could have a full field, at least 20 drivers that can go the full season,
Yeah. Well, I think it's because a lot of the drivers are getting moved up a lot faster than what they used to.
Yeah.
Like, you don't hang out in the ARCA series or the truck series for years. Like, now you're going, like, okay, this kid's...
Christopher Bale style.
Yeah, you're...
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you're a hot rod in a sprint car, so now you're going to run a truck race to get cleared, and then you're going to run an Xfinity race to get cleared, and, like, you're just getting, like, forced up. And, well, hell, we were just going over it with the whole... KB comment, which I'm dying to hear your take on the whole marketing of the younger people. Like me and him started like texting each other, and we figured out that like over a quarter of the field is under 30.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what you consider a young driver, but
Well, think about all the people who Kyle Busch has given the platform, right? I mean, Eric Jones, dominant.
mm-hmm.
Christopher Bell, dominant. Like these are guys that William Byron, dominant. And these are all guys who were in that like 4 truck or 9 or, whoever. But without that Kyle Busch Motorsports platform and that dominance, like they would never be in their cup ride. Like not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, personally, if I was Kyle Busch, I would be leveraging that to my benefit, to my own devices, saying, well, yeah, these guys are getting that attention because I built the trucks that got them the attention. But I'm not Kyle Busch.
They just had such a big rollover in drivers in the Cup Series. Like this, like in the past 3 years, holy shit.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson's got to go sometime soon, right?
He's the oldest one.
Yeah, he's the oldest one. Danny's the oldest one of Gibbs.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So, like, what else? Who does he want us to talk about? These people are new. We have to know who they are.
So I think one of the biggest challenges the sport is dealing with right now is we're kind of in like a really funky period of like a lot of the sport. If you look at it like a big pie, like there's still the old stigma, the old Southern sport.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and a lot of the core fan base, who supported it during the golden era is still around and still watching. But now you're pulling in this younger fan base, and we're trying to fix the identity of the sport, but you really can't have it go both ways, right? At some point, it's going to have to be about the 18 to 34s that are going to be buying into it and not the older group. And you're kind of have this like really strange mixture of an identity that's like, yeah, we're trying to be young and hip, but yes, we're also trying to be traditional and appeal to the hardcore fan. And I think one of the best blending parts of that is like the throwback weekend where all that like history can come to the forefront, but you have like the younger drivers who are really pumped about it, and it kind of brings everybody together because you feel different when you go to Darlington. It's a different race feel than compared to every other weekend of the year.
Yeah, because you're seeing those cars.
It's fun. Like it's like an actual fun
living color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're actually getting to see these crazy paint schemes.
Mm-hmm. So as we get through that like weird point, like you have to also imagine like the guys that are kind of critical of the older guys are the drivers who are, the names that have got A, the big contracts, and B, are the guys out there winning races and driving, getting all the attention as the sport's going through a contraction mode. So it's probably weird for them to like not understand that like it's just not a big as hit as it once was. But like, and that's not a knock on the sport. That's like every sport's ratings are falling, right? Like,
yeah, all
people
of them
are just doing different things instead of sitting in front of their televisions all the time.
And plus, there's no real room for them to promote somebody that hasn't performed well in 3 years that has been there for 10.
Yes.
True.
I mean, if somebody comes in as a rookie and gets his first top 5, they're going to talk about it. If he finishes second for the first time or 3 times in a row, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't hear about Casey Kane until he stole the Brickyard. I mean, all year. And I mean, he's the 4th Hendrick car, I mean, that's still not a bad car to be in.
Yeah, there's no story there. I mean, besides
Yeah, no,
that,
no,
there's
exactly what
nothing
you
to
said.
talk about.
And then, like, I could see those comments if there was like 2 or 3 new drivers coming in and they were only focusing on them. But there's more than that just at Hendrick.
Right.
Just one team. So, like, we got to know who these people are. We got to know they're new.
I mean, we could all benefit from infinitely more promotion of the sport.
Yeah.
And I hate it for anybody who's not named Ryan Blaney, but you're all competing for second place for most popular driver. Because not only does he'll get the push, but he's out there doing it. You know what I mean? Like, Blaney gets it.
Yeah.
Like, he legitimately gets it. Like, he understands that he has to go out there and do all these things that are of no benefit to him. But, I mean, it's just something he does.
Yeah, I think cutting the hair was... I know he was doing it for, like, the locks of love or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think him having just a little bit longer hair, I think, is the move.
You just have that unwritten rule at Penske
Yeah.
that, Penske perfect,
Yeah.
for better or worse,
But still, like, it's like, okay, like, this is what we got. Like, this is, like, he's, like, the perfect guy, matching, young, the whole personality.
Well, I was gonna say-
one with a small team, he's got his own podcast. He's doing things, he's always out there. And I think him being on that, like, edge, kind of like the PG-rated Tim Richmond,
Yeah.
if you would.
Well, I think his personality is still going to shine through, but
Yeah.
let's be real, the stash and the long hair was...
Yeah, because he fired
stuff.
right back at Kyle.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, when him and Harvick got into it, and Harvick kind of gave him that jab, I mean, he went and hit him right back in the shoulder, like, this is our guy. I mean, let's face it, 2018, 2019, Blaney is the face of the sport. End of story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
him-
great news for all of us.
Yeah, it's going to be him or Elliott. And Elliott got his big push with the feud with
I don't
Hamlin.
think he wants it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think Blaney's out there putting his cards out on the table. I don't think Chase is there yet. That'll probably change when he wins a race, though.
Yeah,
He'll probably embrace it a little bit more.
yeah. And then, I don't know. I mean, they might get a little competitive with it. They might just try to start outdoing each
Well,
other.
we need to. And, I mean, we don't know what William Byron's going to do as a Cup Series driver.
No, and then you got Alex Bowman,
Alex Bowman. We don't know what he's going to be like full-time.
which he seems more of
Bubba's
a quiet
full-time,
type.
too.
Yeah, yeah. Bubba, yeah, he's got a big social media deal. I mean, he's
good.
Yeah, he's always doing like those daily video blogs or whatever. He's always got his selfie video out.
And Blaney's his homie, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they all came up racing against each other. So, do you think it's like all these drivers are getting moved up super fast? Do you think it's like the Logano effect, or?
Well, I mean, I think it's by necessity, right? Like, you need the best, most talented guys who can put on a good show. It's a lot like NFL quarterbacks. Like, look at the markets that are super popular and then look who their quarterback and their coaches are. Like, it kind of coincides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same thing. Plus, we have to also think, like, you just can't afford to pay guys $7 million a year to drive the race car anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have somebody who comes in and can be as good and drive it for $500,000 to $1 million and be ecstatic to have that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a necessity for the teams to stay open to get younger drivers who will drive for less,
Mm-hmm.
and then push them into that stardom to get that attention and that notoriety to be, a face of the sport.
That's what I always thought about when they were, trying to get the Cup drivers out of the lesser series. I still think that someone still has to win the race,
Yeah.
and there's good cars and bad cars. So you put the good kid in the good car, he's going to win.
Yeah.
So it just kind of basically just takes care of itself. That we've seen trucks and cars. It doesn't matter who's in it. Hell, I could get in it and be good. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it doesn't matter. It's all going to equal itself out. But I think
Jimmy
that,
Johnson at Bristol
yeah,
in the truck.
yeah,
Yeah. Was that the Randy Moss truck?
yeah.
He led and then got dumped. No, I think he spun
he
That-
lost
and
it
he-
coming off of 4.
and then had it back underneath control and then got hit.
Yeah.
I think is what happened.
Was that the race that we ran out of gas on the front stretch?
No, probably.
One of the most heartbreaking races. Me and Matt used to be on a pick crew together.
Oh, okay.
He's front tire changer. I was Jackman. We had everything planned out, perfect. Had everything planned out, and for whatever reason, didn't get down on the apron or was still up on the banking, and the truck coughed and ran out of gas and wouldn't restart, wouldn't refire, and then we're lapped down like that.
Yeah, it's Bristol.
Yeah, because it was under caution, and we were leading, and it was just like, oh my god,
24 laps to go.
Yeah, 20
Which
laps to
truck
go. The 23 truck.
Okay.
And to add insult to injury, he ran out right in front of us. So we're sitting there looking at the truck, not being able to do anything. Completely helpless as the pace car keeps going by. And you hear it trying to restart.
Painful.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
It is, yeah.
I'm just numb to it now. It's like,
Heartbreak is part of the sport.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they say baseball is a game of failure. I think racing's a game of failure.
No, it definitely is.
You know, I've never won a NASCAR race in 10 years, so.
I got one through a sister team.
Yeah, you did. Biaggi. Daytona.
Daytona.
Of all places. You've never won Daytona, have you, Matt?
No.
But you've won, what, Martinsville?
Martinsville, Phoenix, Loudon. Not NASCAR. I run Martinsville in NASCAR in the trucks.
In the trucks,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. Martinsville, Phoenix, Loudon, Michigan, Talladega, Hickory.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Snowball Derby.
No, that's Snowball Derby. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Eric Jones.
I just laugh at the irony of that picture.
Yeah, speaking of Kyle, yeah, we beat Kyle that day, and that's what gave Eric his ride, was that race.
So what's it like working in the ARCA series? Like, we were talking about the big differences in speed. You know, what's it like being on, like, the good side of that?
You know, it's good. I mean, it's nice going to the racetrack, having speed every week. You know, I mean, everybody works just as hard as we do. It's just we got a lot of good people at our team. You know, we put the hours in and we build the cars the best we know how. You know.
Yeah, and we've talked about your team before, how they just kill it over there at MDM.
Yeah,
just slaying everything. So you guys do show up with speed, have a lot of speed.
I think last year, and I've never been able to say this, but last year, about any other team I've ever been on, was the only time every single person that has gone on the road has been to victory lane.
that's a pretty awesome.
Every single person.
That's a pretty awesome
Across
fact.
3 different series.
I didn't know that every car won.
Not every car, but every person. Like, because we do a lot of side deals, not side deals, but, you know, one-off deals. Like, let's say somebody wants to run this car at Winchester. You know, okay, well, this team will do that car.
Got it.
You know, so it might not be the same driver, but crew member-wise, every single person in the shop went to victory lane.
What do you think the key to your guys' success
Yeah, I was going to
is?
say, because this is like a really like outlier, you know, to not do, you know, have full-time teams here and there, but you guys took one at Michigan with Bubba in the truck series and then dominated ARCA in all those starts and then had an amazing K&N series year. So
It's all about having the resources and having the best people you can work on the cars and prepare them the best they know how. And having that brain trust of crew chiefs at the shop that know exactly what they want and know it works and be able to talk to each other and know, you know, try to get a happy medium and say, okay, we're going to run this, we're going to run this, we're going to run this, and this will be our baseline. And then when you get to the track, you know, you tune on it here, and then they'll get together and talk about it and make whatever changes they want to. But everybody that runs our programs, you know, has been in racing for years. Most of them used to drive. You know, so you have that factor of them knowing what the driver's talking about and being able to fix it.
it's crazy. It's that shared perspective.
Well,
like all levels.
There's a lot of race shops that there might as well be a wall down the middle of them when it comes to
You kinda
different
had
cars
that,
and different
like,
numbers and
that
stuff.
weird feel at Petty between the 43 and the 44.
I mean, there's
A little bit.
There's a lot of places that are like that.
And then Xfinity was kind of on its own island.
Yeah, I know of some race teams that the teams start work at different times, go on break at different times, have different days off.
I don't know about all that.
There's legit race teams that do that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
And-
sure there's reasons.
And you want to talk about a divide that happens, but that's the one thing that I keep hearing about your team is like that's not
It's like just glue.
like
really,
you guys are literally one team with all these cars.
Yeah, we're there to help each other.
Yeah, there's no hiding parts from people. There's no well we're going to run this and then we'll run that, but just don't write it down. Like just stuff like that.
If somebody was going to do that, that'd mean failure for the other team, which is failure for your whole team.
Yeah.
You can't have a car out there running 15th or 20th in a K&N race and one leading by half a second. You have to keep the program elevated. You have to stay at a point where you're going to be able to sell rides next year and be able to keep the sponsorship in the drivers. And
your guys' stats definitely show that. The big one that I keep bringing up is the laps completed. That's the big one. Is the cars were always out on the racetrack, and you have to be out there to win. You have to be out there to finish.
Right.
To get those good finishes, you have to be out there. Stuff's not falling off. Stuff's not breaking. And just like you said, having the best equipment with the best people, you're not going to have that. And then you get the teamwork. Like I don't know if you guys are doing like team building stuff or just everyone just gets it.
Yeah, I mean, because there's
a lot of shit talking. That's about it.
Hey, honestly, if you're not comfortable enough to roast like the people that you work with, like you're not really like friends.
Yeah.
Like, how much more fun and enjoyable and productive is work when you like genuinely enjoy like those people's company.
Yeah.
And run well.
And run
at
well.
the same time.
Like it's just kind of just snowballs into bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just like, hey, this is fun. Like this is something we're doing and winning, and everybody looks at every high success like it's like highly disciplined and almost unenjoyable, and in most sense it is. But like MDM just seems to be, hey, we win, we hang out, we have fun. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
Let us know if you like that.
Yeah, sweeping weekends.
Oh yeah, we won 3 races in one day at 2 different tracks. They had a doubleheader K&N race at South Boston, and Travis Miller won the first one. And then I was in Talladega with the ARCA race. We won Talladega, and then Harrison Burton won the second doubleheader race at South Boston.
Wow.
Which is kind of motivating in and of itself when you're getting news back from.
Oh yeah,
it's like, hey, they won the battle over there. It's like it helps morale over here.
Not really, especially when you're at. Well, I mean, I'd say that, but you're sitting on pit road during a plate race, and one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of your of your year. Just sitting there watching, you're like, hey, they won a race. Oh, that's nice. And you got your own stuff back over here to deal with. And then you win, and you're like, hey! And then you're loading the trailer, like, hey, they just won, hey!
Yeah, how was Monday at that shop? That was...
Yeah, like, it's just constant party time.
Right?
Basically. Everyone's...
Not when there's work to be done.
Yeah,
fair.
But the trophy case definitely did get filled up this year.
We got team lunches if we got a top 5 at RPM.
Yeah. And then, what was it? Sprint did the Miss Sprint Cup would bring coffee and donuts or something like that. It was like the winner's breakfast.
Yeah. SRI, Stock Car Steel does that too. They bring donuts to the winning.
Yeah, that started out, we were getting that at the beginning, and then kind of like every couple.
Like, okay.
The
gotta win 5 now.
Kind of.
Yeah, start to lose money.
Oh, yeah, where are our cookies?
That's great. So where do you see yourself going? Like as far as like in your career, like what's your goal?
I mean, obviously, I want to be a crew chief.
Yeah.
Full-time crew chief, and be able to be in charge of my own deal. But
is it like at the highest level on a cup car one day?
I don't think so. I mean, who knows? But
you're not gonna say no, but you're not
right. I mean, it's not something I really want to aim towards. I've never really been like that. I never really saw much appeal in the Cup Series.
No?
Honestly, no, not really. Just because the amount of, I think it takes too much away from your life.
Yeah, I see that.
And it's so cutthroat, and
the time commitment is insane.
The people, like the higher that you go in the series, the faker the people become.
Yeah, because they're job padding, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, there's not every level you go up. It's like the pyramid, right? So you go up and it gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, and there's only so many people that have those jobs, and there's only so many teams.
Yeah.
And you're not guaranteed somebody else loses their job at that level.
Yep. And for
when
some
you do,
people,
and to move around and stuff, it's
and for some people, there's only one direction to go once you get so
Yeah.
high.
Right. I
So-
mean, I've had a couple years ago,
Is that your
there was
stomach?
I think so.
was that your stomach? I heard it.
Well, that means everybody heard it. Hey, I'm hungry. Some pizza.
A couple years ago, we were working on a K&N car, that's on team, and somebody walks in looking for a hose clamp, and there's an old car sitting in the back of the shop, like, it has storage area. And he's just looking for, hey, do you know where I can find one of them? And it looked familiar, and I'm not going to say it was, but it was a top 10 level Cup crew chief from like 2 years prior, just trying to get a car ready to go to Daytona by himself. I was like, holy shit, that's so and so. I mean, that's what it's like though. You can't base your life on having this salary. You're not going to go out and buy a big house just because you have a big salary.
Yeah.
You can't, because you never know where you're going to lose it. It's the same thing as doing pit stops. Like getting out of doing pit stops, you don't know if you're going to get hit and bust your thumb wide open and all of a sudden, I'm out for it. Nobody's going to pay your bills.
No.
That's kind of why I got out of the whole pit crew deal, is just because I wanted to have longevity in a career rather than, I'm going to do this pit stop deal and then I'm going to start my own snowplow
podcast.
business. Yeah, podcast. There you go. Yeah. Get your hats and t-shirts today. YoungerPruitt.com.
Hey, shameless plug.
I love it.
Shameless plug.
I love it.
So you're kind of looking at it as kind of a return on your, like, what's it kind of like?
An ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, versus time, but
Yeah.
you have to.
Like at
You
some
have to
point,
know
like it's
where
not
you're
worth
going.
it, and you can still have fun doing.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lifespan on everything. Mm-hmm.
So, what would your ideal deal be? Like your perfect set of a job on a race team. Like where would you'd be like, yeah, this is great. I'm good with this.
Well, who knows? You don't know until you're there, and when you're there, you don't appreciate it.
Ooh.
Man, that's deep. I like this. Let's keep going down this road. These are my favorite type of combos.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of those things where you don't appreciate it until it's gone.
Sometimes you think about that, like you'll be on a certain deal and be like, this is actually pretty damn good, and it's probably going to be the best deal I'm ever going to be on.
Yeah.
And then it's hills and valleys.
Yeah, but there's also the argument that even in any type of competitive sport or in anything where there's a win, you win, that's only a small decibel of your time that you're spending doing something. Like if you win a race, so yeah, you go to victory lane, you do the little hat dance, you're getting all the pictures, and that's like what, 20 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I spent my victory lane running across pit road, the big ball field, up the banking, and into the stands to grab my sponsors who were there, who did not tell me they were there. So I'll tell you the whole story. So, Eric was running the Fresh from Florida scheme at Daytona 2 in 2016, and Fresh from Florida was on the car, and part of Fresh from Florida's activation was that they had to have a clear jar that had Fresh from Florida logo on it, filled with orange juice, because Florida.
Yeah.
So, and it was the same weekend where they did like the honoring veterans thing, and we had a ship from the Navy there, like some historic ship that did something important. I don't exactly know the whole story, but some of those guys that were on that ship were our guests that day, and they're like older dudes, they're like 80. And they're hanging out on pit road and just living life. And all of a sudden, they got into my orange juice and just started crushing this orange juice. And I was looking at my truck driver, Will. Teddy bear. I fucking love Will.
Yep,
He's awesome. And he's like, you might want to put some of that in the bottle. And I was like, yeah, you want to know why? Because we're going to win tonight. And he was just like, I have that feeling too. So I go get more orange juice, fill the things up, put ice on it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they come down, they do a fuel only stop, and then Eric restarts like 6th or something like that, and then gets the push, and I'm just like, okay, like we actually might win this. And then you had that really controversial end, where he was like an inch ahead of Allgaier when the caution flag flew.
Yeah,
and I'm like scrambling, running to the hauler to get the hat bag. And then I'm running back to Victory Lane, and the other JR Motorsports is there with their hat bag, and I'm just like, "Hey, how's it going? This is awkward," because it's like, well, I mean, one of us is, one of us won, and one of us is going to get second. Nobody wants to get second, so you're like, kind of like, just like.
You didn't want to have to do the slow walk back to the trailer.
Yeah,
bag.
yeah. I've done that many times in life, and I just don't want to do that like in like professional settings. So they finally make they finally made the announcement that we got it. Everybody's pumped, and I'm getting the hat bag, and I got this thing ripped apart, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, and I'm like, I'm just too busy. It's probably like people I know like calling to say, and I look down, it's my boss, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. Hey, how's it going? He's like, yeah, stop what you're doing and go get the sponsors. So I'm like, no, it's okay. They're actually not here. He's like, no, they just texted me. How do I get down there? They didn't tell us. Go get them. And I'm like, okay. And if there's one thing I serve the sponsor like tenfold.
Yeah.
So I like drop everything. The PR girls that were supporting me motherfucked me the entire time because they like said I abandoned them, and I guess I did in one way, but when the boss man says go get the sponsor, like, I'm the account manager. That's just what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
So they hated me. I don't think I ever like fully recovered from that. Not that they really liked me to begin with. But anyways, so I take off tearing across this track. I get up there, the security guy's like, there's fucking track cleaners on the track. You can't just run across all this shit. And I'm like, listen, man, this is an awkward time for everybody. So these are my sponsors. I have to get them to Victory Lane. These are literally the people who cut the check, sign off on it, deal with the back and forth from the Florida government to, keep sponsoring the race team. And it was just super important that they got down there. So I'm literally fighting like 6 different battles at one time with like all these different entities. And they had to wait till they could finish sweeping the track, and they pulled them off. And then we take off running down the baking, and they're like, you can't walk across the grass. Which I get. At that point, I was just glad I could get them down there. So while everybody else got the champagne and the yelling and the screaming, I got to enjoy it. I was Captain Save a Sponsor. I mean, we eventually got our pictures and everything. So I didn't even, I worked in the sport not nearly as long as you guys have, but that one 20-minute period, I got literally 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still good, right?
Yeah, so how much your entire year has spent, that's the whole thing, is the journey to it, because that's the part that's got to be the fun part, and that's where you have to be fun, because you're only celebrating the win for just...
Do you spend more time on Instagram waiting for the plane to take off than you do in Victory Lane?
Yeah, especially on some planes that we fly.
Still the best part of racing.
Yeah, but it's it's so good. It's this like, small, but it's still so good.
It's like the Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Like when they gave us the 98s, the winner, it was just like, oh, I didn't know it was going to feel like this. Like, you just don't know what it feels like. And it's just like, wow, I got my first win as an account manager. I've got the sponsors here. It's well, I mean, I learned that after the fact, but it was cool because, Fresh from Florida is a Florida government program.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask. I thought you said government. Like, how does that?
So it's a government program. You see a lot of that branding on like Florida Produce, Florida Meats, Florida Exports, like anything. So Fresh from Florida. So anything that's like agricultural wise, meat, produce. It's an initiative used to help export Florida goods to like out to other states.
So the farmers sell it to the state of Florida.
Yeah, well, the state of Florida helps farmers like link up with like distribution opportunities to be able to sell to like the Walmarts or sell their meat to like major retailers outside of the state of Florida.
Got it.
So kind of think of it as like how we sell things to like China.
Yeah.
Like Florida does that, but
on a state
to state basis. Yeah. So that's what that is. And there's a lot of good people that work there that are huge NASCAR fans because of that sponsorship. At first it was kind of like, yeah, what are we doing here? But then it was like, this really works for us. And they eventually went on to do bigger activations, had a full-time show car program. It was all pretty big deal. They would use Richard to help leverage opportunities and sales connections and everything. I mean, it turned into like a really big deal from like what began as like a handful of Xfinity races and then 2 Cup races.
And then now they're going to be over at SHR, right, on that deal?
That I don't know. Probably
pretty good chance though.
Because I mean, number one is Biaggi. I mean, they developed a relationship with him too, and then Eric is a Florida grown driver, and everybody, and that's who all admin people know. So it kind of is a natural fit, which is kind of a hit to Petty because I think they got confirmed they've only got 13 races sold yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I think they'll get more, and especially now with the RCR deal, I think they're going to.
I think so too.
Yeah, Bubba's very marketable with that stuff. So
yeah, for whatever reason, Roush just couldn't push him.
Well, he was at Roush, Gibbs, and
yeah, I mean Gibbs had trouble with it too. I mean, Kyle Busch's truck team is so powerful. I mean, they always have money coming in, and they win so many times. They get those Toyota win bonuses that help it cover like a big chunk of that.
That's a very big deal.
I mean, hell, I think they give you like $70,000 or something, and it's like 100. Yeah, that's right. I know.
At least it was.
Yeah. You got to have the Toyota decal, and you got to have the Sirius, the Sirius XM decal, because that's a B2B deal.
Really?
Yeah. So if you notice any Toyota truck, it's prominent.
Huh.
And if you move it, you can move it, but you have to get permission, and it has to be still a prominent deal because hell, I mean, dude, $70,000-$100,000 pays a lot of the truck bill.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, to get back to the bones of that, yeah, it's the elation that you get from winning a race, just at any part of the team, is incredible.
Yeah, I'd have to say winning that Snowball Derby, that was the one that kind of caught me off guard the most. That one, and I won an ARCA race in Kentucky with Parker Klingerman. We were in second, and we couldn't get past Ingfinger. We could get on his door on the outside, but we couldn't pass him. We didn't have enough. And going into 3 and 4 on the last lap, he overdrove it and washed up, and we drove underneath him and ended up winning the race. So that one was like, damn it, we're not going to win. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're clear. And then we're like, what? Like, we're already starting to break stuff down. What? And we turn around. We all start, none of us were on the wall. We're like, well, we'll just finish second. And all of a sudden, oh, you're clear. So we end up running over there. Actually, Road America was like that too. I think it was, I think Chase Elliott might have been leading the race, and he got wrecked by somebody. Who the hell was it? It could have been Infinger, but they crashed each other on the last lap, and Chris Boucher, I won with him up there at Road America. That was the same thing. Like, we were in third, like we weren't going to win, and then all of a sudden, like, because you have so many different sponsors, and or spotters. Yeah. You have so many different ones. It's like, oh, they're getting together. Oh, you're clear. And then after that, it was just, you're clear. No one was anywhere near us. We ended up winning that race. But the Snowball Derby one was kind of like, just kind of caught me off guard.
Dude, that's
like,
the crown jewel.
I was like, what? Like, what just happened? Dave Jones came up, gave me a big hug. It was just like, this one was weird. It just seemed like to me, it was like that Daytona, probably never going to win, but it's a fun thing to do. And then we ended up, because going up against Kyle Busch, it's just like, you're not expecting to win, especially in like that type of car. Like, you just didn't know. Like, Eric Jones wasn't Eric Jones that we know.
Just a kid,
right? Yeah, he was just just a little baby,
Just a kid who could do it.
Yeah, he raced Kyle on the outside for 10 laps.
Yeah.
And that passed him.
yeah, they got around him. Gosh, bringing back memories.
Matt, what was your favorite victory lane story? How'd that day go?
It's kind of hard to say because every win means so much, because you never know when you're getting another one. You have your favorite tracks, you have the biggest series, the first win with the driver who's your friend, your first win as a team at You know, whatever team you're on, your first K&N win, your first ARCA win, your first truck win. I don't know. I guess Martinsville is the biggest one because that was Timothy Peters' first ever truck win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like that was his first one.
Yeah. Well, he ran that whole deal with his own deal the year before,
that's right.
or leading up to, you know, the middle part of that year when he got in that truck.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Chad, his crew chief from his own deal, just came over to Red Horse and started running.
Got the backing that they needed, and
yeah. Tom called him up and said, "Hey, you know, want to run my truck?" So they both of them went over there, and leading up to that race, they knew, like at least Chad did. He knew, like, yeah, we're gonna win Martinsville. Like he knew going, and he called it. And even throughout the race, like we were running 7th. I'm like, wow, how are we gonna win this? Like knowing that we were gonna win, not like, God, how are we gonna win this? But I knew we all knew that we were gonna win. Like, well, I wonder how this is gonna unfold. I know we're gonna win. And yeah, like that. Like there was so much confidence there, knowing, and he ended up leading like the last 80 laps, and Todd Bodine was behind him on 8 restarts. You know, it's like, yeah, it's
last guy went there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like a restart at a speedway.
Mm-hmm. At Martinsville.
Yeah, but it's just,
what do you do?
Yeah, every caution comes out, you're just like, oh, just get it over with, just stay green.
So who did was it David Gilliland that bought out a lot of those Red Horse trucks like just recently? I think that got announced 2 weeks ago, last week.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. How many full-time drivers are we going to have in the truck series this year? It's like a couple handfuls, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot. I don't know if it's enough to cover the top 10.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you got some money, you might be guaranteed a playoff spot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about all the smaller teams that ended up with BKR trucks.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Anderson, Jesse Little, who's a wheelman, by the way.
Yeah, like everyone's always worried and always so critical of like even like any team, but like truck teams, like it always, you know.
We're fortunate that it always just seems at the 23rd hour that somebody comes in and buys a team, or somebody comes in with some funding somewhere and pulls like a full year out of nowhere.
Yeah, because I remember when KHI closed down, it was like, oh, now what? Because they build the chassis, they hang on the bodies. You know, it's like, oh no, like even for like other manufacturers, it's like, oh no, now what? And then Kyle Busch stepped in. So you're going to have that constant swirl, and it's just like, you know, like, so now you have guys that didn't have the equipment before. All of a sudden now this, even though it's used, it's still better equipment than what they had. So now they can try to put their own little fingerprint on that good stuff and try to like shine, you know, like a Jordan, you know, or whoever else, X guy, you know. And with it being so small, like those guys are naturally going to get the media and the publicity, because now they're going to be guaranteed playoff spots. Or
Jordan has finished top 15 in his own truck, I think at Michigan. Like he finished 13th once on the lead lap, like stuff that he put together, and it probably even had an SB2 in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that Ilmore deal right now, do you have to have that or no?
No, you can. I think there's a weight penalty.
It's also a gear rule.
A gear rule, yeah. So the motor's better than probably the stuff you can buy, but you get the gear rule to kind of equalize it.
Right, they try to.
So it helps this is strange. This is top level racing. So it actually hurts the lower end teams, because like the bare minimum now cost a lot less. These are like 40,000 a race maybe to get the spec engines, and now they used to piece together SB2s with like, you know, a plethora of used parts for like $5 or $6 grand. So now they spend a lot more on their engine programs, but like the top level teams that go to the spec engine are spending a lot less now.
Right. I mean, you could buy that whole package for, I don't know how much the truck stuff costs.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It's like $45,000 for everything to buy your own engine.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to be gone through till 1,500 miles.
Yeah, because I think the Cup ones are what, 75,000 a race?
Oh man, Cup's more than that. Your engine program in Cup is like 3 per year. Like more than
Well, yeah,
that.
that would about equal. It's that'd be about 75,000 a race, wouldn't it?
I mean, some of those are probably 3.3, 3.4.
Yeah, that's just lease. Like you got to give it back.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and if you break it,
it's a lease. This isn't like yeah. If you blow it up, or if the engine tuner says, "Hey, you need to come pull tape," and the crew chief says, "No, we're staying out for track position." Okay, well,
yeah,
you just bought a motor.
One of your biggest budget line items is your engine program.
Yeah.
And then people is probably second or third. Mm-hmm. Travel's pretty high up there too. Travel's brutal.
But do you think it's like in the short term that right now it's affecting the smaller teams, and then it's all going to
it's all going to trickle down because eventually those engines that people are buying for that amount of money are going to be mileaged out, or they're going to end up getting newer ones. They might have some updates on them, and they'll just go right down to the small teams, and small teams are buying for half the price. And
it's all when you make that first major change, it's weird for everybody.
It's like everything,
and then it
else.
Normalizes. Yeah, anything else in life.
Yeah, it just seems like if you're going to do it, and just like if you're going to make a change, do it, and then they're going to have the little feeling out period where everything's kind of weird, but then it's all going to level out. And be
think
fine.
You're starting to see now. At least down in Daytona, that they've kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, like things legitimately have to change drastically in like so many different avenues of the sport that there's probably going to be like a really weird change, like ongoing, like year to year to year to year to year until it kind of shrinks down the cost and makes everything profitable again.
Now you work with the composite bodies a lot. What do you like those more than a solid body car?
Oh yeah, they're a lot easier to work with.
Yeah, like what kind of?
I mean, you bolt them together, and that's what they are. I mean,
I think the
Xfinity, you could take a whole pile of quarter panels, doors, fenders, greenhouse, and just line up the gel coat on the outside, bolt them together, and there's your body.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I think the Xfinity car is 14 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like if you crash, like your day's not really done, right? Like and you can
yeah, you can replace the tail, you can replace the nose, fenders,
and it's not sitting there for an hour beating it back out and trying to get everything. Right. It's just
because you can just pop it off and it's perfect again.
Mm-hmm. The one bad thing, and it's not even that bad because they actually do repair them if they're repairable, is the damage could be way worse than you think it is because they go in and they spring right back out. Sarah Carl will be coming down Pruitt, like, oh, that's not bad. You don't know that the lower's broken.
Gotcha.
It's very unassuming.
So you really got to look it over,
right?
And make sure everything's fine.
Things could be a lot worse than you think they are with them.
There's little honeycomb spots, like in the really aero sensitive areas where people are spending a lot of money in the wind tunnel manipulating, and you can see them through the wrap, and like an official can like visually say, okay, well, there's all these honeycombs here, but there's like a 5-inch spot where that honeycomb's not there anymore. Wonder what that's all about. So that's essentially, because man, this new laser thing that they're doing in the Cup Series, they're going to be able to inspect a car in 90 seconds.
Yeah,
and
pass fail.
People are going to pass.
No, yeah,
I mean it's going to compound everything. I've heard a lot of stories the last couple of weeks about people trying to get their cars through that, and like 1 out of 20 pass.
And that's in their own shops. Like this is in their own shops with their own equipment, no pressure on them to get it through to qualifying or anything.
But it just it's all fine and good, but everyone's going to try and find the edge in everything. So it's
absolutely.
It's like, so this is going to be the new system, and it's going to make everyone pass real easily, and then
that's kind of the problem, right? Because no matter what you do, no matter what parameters you put in, the game's still the same.
Yeah,
it's still okay. You're shortening up where we can play, so now I got to find out what the limit where I can play. Like that's always going to be what it is.
It's that gray area.
There's no way to change that unless you went to a completely go pick up car number 2. Go pick up car number 7. Go pick up this. You can't play with it. You can't build them anymore. You buy them all from NASCAR and then wrap it in your sponsor, and that's it.
But then you're kind of getting away from...
You don't want that. Yeah. Nobody wants that. That's bad for absolutely everyone.
Yeah, you might as well just go over here to GoPro and get in a cart, and you got what you got. Which, that's not...
No. It was cool when IROC did it because it was something special.
Yeah.
Because you had so many people from like all these disciplines to race.
Yeah, it was a car that no one ran,
Right.
with a bunch of drivers from everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so there
That's
wasn't
what made that series cool.
Yeah, there wasn't a specialist in it. I mean, there got to be, just because, you know, like the Earnhardts or whatever, like they ran it every time, so they kind of got a feel of it. But
My favorite was the Dodge Stealths.
Yeah,
That was a cool IROC series, and then they did the Trans Ams.
Yeah.
I love the
they're really
WS6
cool.
Trans Am.
yes. Those things were just those cars in general, just a street car.
Yeah.
Were
Oh, they
badass.
looked exactly like them too. Like,
Yeah.
it was,
Oh, yeah.
that was perfect. Like
Yeah.
that was good stuff.
And the one thing that I liked about, like, you wouldn't, it was either the wheels, being different. They were normally like those thin 5-spoke chrome wheels,
Yeah, like
and
the
then
Kragers.
that one badge on the back. This was like the WS6. Like, that's how you would know.
No, it had the WS6 hood too, though. The snorkel, the double snorkel.
Yeah,
They had
but
the special
a
hood.
lot of guys would swap those out and move those around on like the Ram Air cars or whatever. But
Only people from Indiana.
hey, you're from Illinois, man.
That's arguable.
So
Chicago's its own country.
yeah, I've only been a couple times. I went up there for a school field trip one time. We went to the Shed Aquarium and the Field Museum up there. That was fun.
When we were home from the road at Schumacher Racing, I actually lived in the race shop, and we would all get together and take the 3-hour hike to Chicago and hang out. I saw things you can't unsee. None of the gang shootings, though.
So what's the two pizza places? Uno's and Lou Malnati's.
Lou
Yeah,
Malnati's, yeah.
yeah. And you're a Lou Malnati guy.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like divided 50-50, or is it like
No.
no?
I mean, it's like you find the best one, and that's the best one. I mean, there's little parts of a pizza that you don't like. You know, the sauce could be too watery, or the crust could be too spongy. You know, and if you find one that's absolutely perfect, why would you give the other one any
I was going to
percentage?
say, I think a lot of it depends on what neighborhood you live in.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah.
It's a lot like Charlotte. Like a lot of people. So, for those who don't know, Charlotte has become like a. How do I put this? Not like a trendy place to live, but I mean, Charlotte's definitely grown in popularity. And it's like people who move to Charlotte, you know, they may all work uptown, but they live in like Dilworth, Elizabeth, Noda, Plaza, et cetera, et cetera. But those people that I've learned through Bumble dating, don't judge me, they never leave their neighborhoods. So it's like, hey, what's up? Want to meet up? It's like, yeah, I live in Plaza. Okay, where do you want to go? Oh, well, I go to this place down the street from my house. And I think a lot of that deals with just shitty ass fucking traffic.
Yo, yeah, well, 100%.
But it's like people literally, I mean, even on the weekends, they just never leave their neighborhoods.
I'm guilty of that too, like Mooresville. And the guys on my team give me shit all the time because they always want me to go hang out with them. One lives in Kannapolis, the other one lives in Concord. I'm like, well, everything that we could do is here in Mooresville, so why do I need to go anywhere? Like, you know, I got my one little steak restaurant, I got my Mexican restaurant. Like, I don't need to go anywhere else so I drive to, say, Cornelius, which is like 15 miles away, or not 15 minutes away. So I go down there, I pass the place that I could already been eaten. By the time I get to the place where I'm going, because of traffic, I could have already been served, ordered, and eaten and gone.
You have to look at it as each individual person is their own experience, and it's worth driving to their respective neighborhoods to hang out and get that quality time.
I'm happy by myself.
So I think what I was getting at is if you live in Wrigleyville, you probably have a pizza place in Wrigleyville, and that's what you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
what you were
there's
saying.
multiple places, you know. I mean, any pizza in Chicago is good pizza. I mean, any pizza is good pizza, but any place within the city, you're going to have really good pizza that would dominate any other. Like, that one little shithole pizza place would dominate the damn city somewhere else.
Yeah.
For the best. I'm not even talking about deep dish pizza, you know. I'm
Just
just
in general.
standard, regular
Yeah.
pizza.
To someone like myself that
Chicago
didn't.
does have bomb food.
Oh, my God.
I mean, like you can
You'll
literally
kill
just-
yourself in 10
yeah,
years.
you can
It,
you can eat your way around the city. Like do you have like Uber wheelbarrow that I can just like lay in this with like a pillow?
Yeah, isn't there that one place with it's that one little sandwich shop that has the corned beef sandwiches? I always see on the Travel Channel and stuff.
Corned
Like,
beef.
yeah, what the hell's the name of that place? But like, there's no seats. It's just a bar.
Oh, you're talking about Italian beefs.
Yes.
Al's Beef. Yeah, it's actually a big chain in the city.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not like a chain, but they have them all throughout
Several.
the city. Yeah, I don't think they're anywhere else besides Chicago.
Yeah, they do like the Chicago stance, where they always like they put their forearms up and they like step back because like the sandwich is dipped in the au
Dipped
jus.
in au jus and
so
covered in
it's just
jardiniere and God, I have not eaten dinner today.
perfect. So let's keep talking about food. And then what the Chicago relish, the blue relish.
Oh, you're talking about the bright green relish on the
Bright green relish.
hot dogs. Yep.
Yeah. What's the difference there? Do you know?
No, I have no idea. Just bright green.
Just bright green. Mm-hmm. But there's always a Chicago dog. I think other than like sports teams, that's where the main rivalry between Chicago and New York comes from, right? It's just food, right?
I mean, that's understandable.
I think New York's only known for pizza, but Chicago's
Chicago's known for a lot of
got
things.
pizza,
Steak,
hot dogs, steak,
the dry aged steaks. Yeah.
Italian beef. Like, where do you get that? You should really go to Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of
So there's like, well, I think it's closed now. Carnegie Deli in New York City.
yeah.
I mean, it's literally you can go in there and drop $30 on a sandwich, but this sandwich is literally pounds of amazing. I'm guilty of doing that, and we took our stuff down to Central Park and ate it, and we were like planning on having a big crazy wild night afterwards, and it's just like I'm literally so full.
Food coma.
Food coma. Like can someone remove the homeless guy from the bench so I can lay down
From a sandwich.
from a sandwich? No, it's that big. I mean, it's literally like 2 pounds of like beef,
Oh yeah,
which like made my like inner Tyrannosaurus Rex happy.
makes me happy. You know when you're a foodie, when you know like you start judging the food that you eat by like pounds. But like I know that I can eat 1.5 pounds of steak. Like I know I can eat like pounds of stuff.
Half the Instagram accounts I follow are like next level food places in like big cities or like donut establishments.
We're going to plan a trip when we go to San Francisco. Me and my wife, we're going to go. What's the name of the fucking place? It's one of the Michelin places. It begins with an A, I think. Follow them on Instagram, but it's like one of the only Michelin rated chefs. What the hell's the name of that place? It begins with an A. But anyway, it's like a destination restaurant. So like you're gonna go, and it's 30 course. Everything's either wild game or grass fed. Everything was slaughtered within a day or two. It's like but it's gonna be like the craziest meal. Like instead of going to like Disney World, like you go here. It's like the foodie's vacation. What's the name of that place?
I'd rather get a pizza and pay off my car.
Yep. Dollar slices on the corner.
Oh man, but yeah, it's kind of it's weird hearing Michelin is like the scale for that.
Yeah.
It was a traveler's guide.
Yeah.
That's how it all started.
Really?
Places to eat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Michelin, the tire.
yeah.
Yeah, same
Michelin
people.
travel guide. Mhm.
So then they're saying, okay, so you go here and you go there. Like this is the place.
Oh
to
yeah,
go.
I mean to get those Michelin ratings, you have to.
There's
There's a
extremely big
lot
deal.
to it. Yeah, it's a huge.
Well,
deal.
yeah, there was that one about that one chef that he got degraded. He lost his, I guess it was like 3-star to 2-star, whatever. He like killed
Yeah.
himself over it. It's like
Yeah.
such a big deal. But very good food. Very good food. Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of making all of our listeners hungry. And Matt said that he hasn't eaten yet. So thanks for coming on, man. We'll get you out of here and you can go get something to eat.
Oh, no problem. Thank
Probably a pizza would probably be on the menu
you. I
tonight.
had that last night.
What's wrong with having it 2 nights in a row?
I never said I wasn't.
All right. You're on Twitter, right? You want to throw out your Twitter handle?
Fucking, I don't even know what it is. Nah, you don't have to promote me.
All right. It's at Matt Ross.
No, it's not. I can't remember what it was. Like, I forgot my password, so I made a bullshit one, and not a bullshit one, but it's like a different letterings. I don't know.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't remember.
Well, just, yeah.
Oh, it's Matt Ross 28, I think. I don't even go on Twitter.
If you get one extra follower, hey, I did my job.
No, hang on. feel like an old person.
The Twitter.
Well, we are. We're all dying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt Ross 28.
Yeah, you can follow me at MattRoss28 on Twitter.
Yeah, and then Instagram is the same.
Yeah.
All right, Boot. Thanks for coming on. You're actually you've really helped us out trying to promote this little show that we got
I
going
like
on
what
here.
you guys are doing. I actually enjoy hearing it too. You get people. You just never get to hear their story.
Yeah.
Because you're always talking about just whatever is to talk about. You don't know where people come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more apt to talk about Game of Thrones than hey man, what's your past like?
Yeah.
So
you guys have wheelbarrows?
Food is the great uniter.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Matt.
No problem.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You can come back whenever. I mean, you are more than welcome. Everything that you've done.
Permanent
for us.
seat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Permanent seat. Yeah. We don't really have anything going on. Well, we got the Cup test coming up in Vegas. Hear this?
Yeah, I think Trucks wrapped it up.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't really get a chance to talk about that, but
The XFL
that was a
is now
roll
thing again.
Yes, it very much so is. That's going to be and apparently it's going to be more
it's gonna be
legit.
legit.
Yeah, it's a legit football league.
Single owner. Vince McMahon does everything. Owns all the teams. Owns the league. Sets all the rules. No criminals. No gimmicks.
Money.
So
If he's going to be in control of all that stuff, I never read that deep into it. I just seen it and I
no
was just
man, he comes up with these business models that just flat out work. Like all the time. Like he's just a good strategic guy. Like he just makes it work. Like WWE Network. He had a quote. Well, there's always a quote that when Turner called him and was going to tell him personally that he was going to start WCW, he called him and said, Vince, he goes, you need to watch out. I'm in the wrestling business. And Vince laughed and said, well, he goes, good luck with that. I'm in the entertainment business. And said, hung up the phone on him. Wow.
So he's got it. He's got it figured out. Said that he didn't want to buy MMA or when the UFC went up for sale, he didn't want to buy it because it was a bad business model. Because he said that you can't control the winner. So we have that to look forward to in the XFL.
Right.
So as a previous comment. But yeah, that's 2 years away. It'll almost be here before the next Game of Thrones season will be here.
Well, I'll be dead by then.
Yeah, at this point. At least it'll feel that
That's
way.
my biggest fear.
And we only get 6 episodes, but they're going to be 90 minutes long each.
No,
so.
I heard they're going to be full length, 2 hours.
I heard all those rumors were wrong.
Really? What have you heard?
You have the internet.
What have you heard?
No, I heard that it's just blown out of proportion.
Oh.
Sure, they're going to be longer, but they're not going to be 2 hours each. And
Like a full, yeah.
yeah.
So I think that what the season premiere and the season finale are normally an hour 15-ish.
They'll probably be an hour.
They screwed us
Yeah, they
last year
probably
with that
will,
one
yeah.
that was 53 minutes or something
Yeah.
like that.
No,
was
one
blue.
was 48, and it was the best episode of the season,
Yeah. But it's
which is
geez.
surprising.
Yeah. It's such a good show.
So much to it.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Matt.
Oh, you're welcome.
Like I said, we don't really have much as far as news, as far as racing news going on. We've got some tests coming up. 24 in the Rolex 24 this weekend.
Yes.
So we got that.
Debut of the
Yeah, that kind of snuck up
NSX.
on you, didn't it?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Debut of the new Acura NSX for Team Penske.
That's right.
Juan Pablo Montoya's wheeling it.
Wow.
That'll be fun to watch. So everyone get your Monster Energy and stay up and watch that for the 24 hours. So, yeah. Again, thank you for coming on. Trying to end this thing. You can find me at JackmanZack on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me at Tall Guy Turbo on Twitter and Instagram.
We're out of here.
See you guys next time.